There's a 1 cent difference between these two prices, but your brain can perceive a much bigger difference. Why can such a tiny number change the way we feel about a purchase so much? We've all seen the classic $9.99 price tag. We know it's just 1 cent away from $10, but why do stores still use it? Over the next few minutes, you'll discover the historical origins of just below pricing, how our brains process numbers, and what signals a price sends us when we're deciding whether to buy. The origins of the 99-cent price tag can be traced back to the 1950s, when American supermarkets began experimenting with prices ending in 99 to prevent shoppers from mentally rounding up to the next whole number. Early marketing studies, including research conducted at Harvard University in the early 1970s, found that products priced at $9.99 sold more than identical products priced at a flat $10. The reason was simple. When customers read the first digit, they tended to perceive the number as significantly lower, even though the actual difference was minimal. The commercial goal was to create the illusion of a discount without actually lowering the price. By presenting the price as just below a whole number, the shopper's mind tends to round it down automatically, thinking, it's under $10. In some places, such as Japan, this strategy doesn't work quite as effectively. Culture and the way people perceive numbers can influence how powerful the 99 cents effect really is. Imagine that a store in your neighborhood changed all of its prices to $9.99. You'd probably notice more people walking through the door and, without even realizing it, more products leaving with them. So, what actually happens inside our brains when we see that number? There's a phenomenon known as the left digit effect. Our brains tend to pay more attention to the first number we encounter, and that first digit acts as an anchor. In the case of $9.99, the 9 is perceived as significantly lower than the 10 in a $10 price. That tiny difference in the position of the digit can trigger an emotional response that makes us feel like we're getting a better deal. And context matters too. If we place a $9.99 product next to a $12 product, the perception of low price becomes even stronger. Neuroscience studies using functional magnetic resonance imaging, or fMRI, have shown increased activity in the prefrontal cortex when people process just below prices, suggesting greater cognitive effort and, at the same time, a greater tendency toward impulsive purchasing. A simple experiment illustrates the point. Imagine showing two groups of people the exact same ceramic mug. One group sees a price tag of $9.99, while the other sees $10. Most people in the first group are more likely to perceive it as a bargain, while the second group is more likely to see it as a fair, or even somewhat expensive, price, despite the fact that the actual difference is just 1 cent. This effect isn't limited to supermarkets. In luxury stores, prices ending in zero, such as $150, reinforce the idea of exclusivity and quality. By contrast, in mass-market retail, 99 pricing encourages impulse purchases and creates the feeling that you've found a deal. Have you ever looked at a price ending in 99 cents and felt like you were saving money, even though the actual difference was tiny? Tell me in the comments. I'd love to hear your perspective. Now imagine you walk into an online store and see two versions of the exact same product, one priced at $9.99 and the other at exactly $10. The visual difference is tiny, but the feeling each price creates can be completely different. As the brain scans the number, it tends to focus first on the leftmost digit. That 9, sitting just below 10, can trigger a sense of getting a deal that a perfectly round 10 doesn't necessarily create. That small psychological advantage can translate into a higher likelihood that a customer clicks "Add to Cart." It's almost as if the number itself were a tiny invisible nudge guiding the decision. This phenomenon isn't limited to physical consumer goods. In the world of services, prices ending in 99 cents can also play an important role. A gym charging $99 a month instead of $100 can make the subscription feel less expensive, reducing the psychological friction involved in making the purchase. The same thing happens with subscription plans for streaming platforms, where a 1 cent difference can mark the line between something that feels like an attractive deal and something that simply feels like another routine expense. Another factor that reinforces the effectiveness of psychological pricing is the way discounts are presented. When a store displays a crossed-out price of $10 and then shows a new price of $9.99 directly underneath it, the brain can interpret the reduction as a tangible gain, even though the actual difference is tiny. Combining the crossed-out original price with a lower leftmost digit can amplify the feeling that you've scored a bargain. By contrast, if the original price were $8.99 and the new price were $8.98, the perceived reduction would be much weaker, even though the absolute difference is exactly the same. Consumer behavior research also suggests that cultural context influences how effective 99-cents pricing can be. In some Asian markets, for example, consumers may be more accustomed to round prices and may interpret 99 cents as a signal of lower quality or an attempt at manipulation. In those cases, brands may choose prices ending in zero to communicate strength, stability, and prestige. In contrast, throughout North America and much of Europe, 99 pricing remains a widely used strategy for encouraging impulse purchases. In the digital environment, the speed at which prices are processed adds another layer of complexity. Recommendation algorithms used by major online retailers can analyze browsing behavior and adjust prices in real time, sometimes shifting between $9.99 and $10 depending on a user's profile. That kind of micro-personalization takes advantage of the same cognitive vulnerability, but pushes it to a level of precision that was previously impossible. Without realizing it, consumers can be exposed to a series of tiny psychological nudges that, when added up, may make a meaningful difference in their monthly spending. So, what can we do as more conscious shoppers to neutralize this bias? The first strategy is to train your mind to ignore the first digit and focus on the total value. When you see a price, mentally count the cents and compare it with the nearest round number. If the difference is less than $1, ask yourself whether you're really saving anything substantial or simply reacting to a visual trick. Another useful tactic is to compare prices at different stores before making a decision, since competition often pushes retailers toward more transparent pricing. It's also important to recognize that price isn't the only factor that determines the quality or value of a product. Sometimes, a higher round number price is associated with better materials, stronger customer service, or more extensive warranties. So when you're evaluating a deal, consider those less obvious benefits that may justify a higher price. Ultimately, the key is to balance the emotional reaction a number creates with a rational evaluation of what you're actually getting in return. In conclusion, the simple act of putting 99 cents at the end of a price is a powerful strategy that takes advantage of the way our brains process numerical information. That tiny difference in the position of the digit can trigger an emotional response that makes us feel like we're saving money, even when the reality is much more subtle. Understanding this mechanism can help us make more informed purchasing decisions and avoid falling for perception traps that, over time, can take a toll on our budgets. If this analysis has opened your eyes to the ways prices can influence your behavior, I'd love for you to share it with your friends and family. Leave a comment about a personal experience where you noticed the difference between a 99 price and a round number price. Your stories always make the conversation more interesting. And if you found this useful, give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss our upcoming videos, where we'll break down more of the psychological tricks hiding behind advertising and marketing. Remember to turn on the notification bell so you can keep learning how to navigate the consumer world with a more critical eye. See you next time.